going on, everybody, and welcome back to my channel, Movie Files. Elliot back again, discussing one of my favorite shows on television, and that is Invincible. We're talking episode 6, which was titled You Look Kinda Dead. Now, this will be a spoiler-free review. I'm just going to talk about my pros, my cons, and let you know why you should be excited for this latest episode of Invincible. But before we dive into it, make sure you're following me on all my other social media accounts, which you can find those links in the description below. If you're new to the channel, welcome to this community. Consider subscribing to the channel, and while you all are at it, hit that notification bell. That way you can get the alert for when I drop early reviews like this. It would mean the world to me if you all can like and share this review of Invincible. It helps out the channel a lot, but I also appreciate all the support. And in the comments, let's discuss this 6th episode, your pros, your cons, your thoughts, your theories, and let's have a great discussion about it. So like I said in my non-spoiler review last week, and the same goes for this week, again, no spoilers whatsoever. I do get the opportunity to see these episodes early, but Amazon does request that we put our spoiler reviews the day after the episode premieres, and in these spoiler-free reviews, it's just my initial reaction. So again, no spoilers, but we got some stuff to kind of break down in this spoiler-free review. As the synopsis reads, Mark joins William and Amber on a campus visit to Upstate University, hoping to discover a new future for himself. Debbie makes her own disturbing discoveries. Now, this episode isn't as action-packed as last week's penthouse fight, but I can do okay without the action. Now, there is some action in this episode, which we'll kind of discuss a little bit later, but it's less of the action in this episode and more of the character development. This show has done such a great job of peeling back the layers of what it means to be a superhero, and obviously you can go down the path of how Nolan is viewed as a Superman, but he has his own demons that we'll talk about in Debbie's discovery in this episode. But then you can go the path of where we see Mark. Again, he has this mom that is Debbie that really wants him to be grounded, to make his own path, and again, he has to live in the shadows, in the footsteps of Omni-Man. So I'm loving all the character development that Mark has in this episode as he goes on this trip with his best friend William, which we haven't seen William in a couple weeks, but also he has Amber tag along, and he's on this university. He sees a future for him and Amber there, so I'm loving the stuff that we get with that character, but also Eve. As I mentioned in previous weeks, Eve is one of my favorite characters, and she has a lot to do in this episode. Get more of her character journey, her being a superhero and kind of creating her own path. So I love what we got with Eve. And then Robot. I loved what Robot gave us in this episode. No spoilers, but again, based off of last week's ending with Monster Girl, we know his relationship with the Mulder twins. We also know that he has his own doings behind the scenes. So you get more of Robot, and you get to see a little bit more behind the scenes of what the character could potentially be into and up to in regards to that baby tube that we saw a couple weeks ago. But going back to Mark again, he's still recovering from getting his ass handed to him by Battle Beast last week. But again, him going to this trip with Amber, with William, kind of planting out what he would like his future look like. Again, taking off the suit of Invincible and being his own man and having this relationship with his friends and his girlfriend. But of course, things are kind of disrupted, which we'll talk about, his plans getting spoiled a little bit later. But going back to, as I mentioned in Synopsis, seeing more of Debbie's discoveries of Nolan, and this episode here really kind of peels the onions back in regards to a particular conversation between the two characters, her doing her own research of what she found in the suit last week. So you're still getting more of that, and her discovering what Nolan's involvement was with the death of the Guardians of the Globe. Love Debbie so much. And then going back to a little bit of Robot, again, no spoilers, seeing his plans that he has to help out Monster Girl in this episode, but also his involvement with the Mulder twins and getting more of the Mulder twins and them having somewhat of a contingency plan in place for Robot. But I love all the stuff that involves Robot and the DNA and all the stuff that we've been getting so far with that character. And then like I mentioned with Eve, again, she's such an excellent character as she's still discovering what it means to be a hero for her and not necessarily being attached to a certain team like the Guardians of the Globe, not having to rely on someone like Rex, not taking any stuff from her dad who doesn't really believe in her, but having her own path. And you get a lot of character development from Eve as she's kind of, again, creating her own way of what she thinks it means to be a hero. So I love that. And then no spoilers, but there is a new character that we get introduced to in this episode. And I'll just say this. Robert Kirkman and this character, there's a lot of symbiotic comparisons to what this character gets involved with, and it's definitely one of Robert Kirkman's biggest comics to date, and I'll just leave it at that. But that new character is very, very interesting, and what he creates is very fantastic, and I'll leave it at that. And then lastly, as every week does, they have these ending of the episodes, and this episode ends with it leaves the door open for a contingency plan put in place, and the character that it involves potentially is someone that we haven't seen in quite a few weeks, and I'll just leave it at that. So again, I mentioned there's not as much action, but when the action is in this episode, it's fantastic. We see Mark kind of having some moments in this episode, several moments I have to say, and man, that last kind of fight sequence with Mark and some other characters, which has a lot of stakes in this moment, was fantastic. And the way kind of things play out with certain relationships with Mark, which is fantastic in this episode. It makes you want to know, okay, where relationships going to go next? What type of friendships are going to be built after this episode? And again, seeing Mark tackling what it's going to be, what it means to be a teenager with Amber, his friend William, going off to college potentially soon, and getting all that stuff sorted out, and Eve and all that. And of course, what it means to be invincible in this world and be a superhero. So I'm loving, again, the character's journey, and I love this episode, and I can't wait to discuss spoilers with you all. I'm going to shoot my spoiler review right after this review, and we're going to be talking more about this episode, about the deeper dives of the characters, the ending explained, the theories, and all the different stuff. Again, that video will be available tomorrow morning on Saturday, 9 p.m. Central Time. Can't wait to talk spoilers with you all about this episode because I had a fun time with it. So that's my thoughts, spoiler-free, on episode 6. But again, let me know in the comments once you've seen the episode. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Where does this kind of rank with you amongst the 6 episodes? And then again, we'll talk more spoilers tomorrow. But again, go ahead and light up the comment with your thoughts. So make sure to like the video, share the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Make sure you hit the bell. That way you don't miss more of my Invincible content. Again, I'll be back tomorrow morning talking spoilers. Hope you all are staying safe, and we'll see you on the next video.